move into more cynical filmmaking, which, you know, really took hold of the 70s with films such as Straw Dogs, A Clockwork Orange, Dirty Harry, French Connection, etc. These all push boundaries in terms of censorship, especially, you know, Clockwork Orange, as we all are familiar with its censorship history, especially in this country, anyway, where it's banned for many years, and after Kubrick received death threats. It's a great film. It definitely raises some great ethical issues. But never mind. Back onto this. The relaxation of censorship helped the exploitation film circuit especially well. Yeah, as you can tell by. But yes, such as films like Last House on the Left, I Spit in Your Grave. Wait, was that 80s or 70s? That's 70s. You know, released in America where they have the option to release it uncensored, whereas they got torn down over here. Though they did come out, albeit in the 80s, went on videotape before the video nasty scandal nearly got banned. But yeah, so yeah, but they definitely pushed boundaries along with some mainstream films of that era. Yeah, in terms of censorship. Okay. Also, there's a new breed of American auteurs and push boundaries with their, you know, merge with their personal creative films that challenge various aspects of film. From Woody Allen's Annie Hall, which used numerous narrative techniques to get the audience to give the audience a closer look at the subtleties of Alvy and Annie's relationship, and the character of Alvin himself in a much greater light, which is fantastic and really, really makes the film extremely interesting. It was released in 1977 and won an Oscar. I'm sure it won an Oscar. Should have done anyway. It's fantastic film. Really, really good. The narrative techniques are just wow, especially. Yeah. But nevertheless. Also, Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver, which celebrated the seedy aspects of New York's now cleaned up Times Square and 42nd Street, and provides a harrowing insight into urban loneliness, was released, and along with some of his other films, although a few more came out in the 80s, such as The King of Comedy, which is essentially a taxi driver but with a stand-up comedian who's more extroverted than Travis Bickle's character in, you know, Taxi Driver, which is more of an introvert. But yeah, he started to come through. Also, the kid also gave us the blockbuster, which started with Steven Spielberg's Jaws and Lucas's Star Wars, which is basically, for all the money at a project, it's going to give you a lot of money in return. This is, although it's been milked to death in this current industry situation. So, moving on. Decade also gave us the rise of midnight movies, such as, I think it started with El Topo, Alexandro Jodorowsky's film, which basically played the Elgin for a fair few years at midnight. This carried on throughout the 70s with John Waters' Pink Flamingos, the boundary-pushing satire, featuring the most shocking of end scenes, which I've still not seen yet. It also gave us David Lynch's Eraserhead, which also became a midnight film in 1977. This carried on. It has carried on for decades. I mean, especially with the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which was released in the 70s, and it's still being played now. Actually, the rule of thumb is every other night, somewhere around the world, Rocky Horror will be playing. Yeah. Moving on to the 80s. Right. VCRs and home video began to invade the homes across the nation, providing providing filmmakers with, you know, a second means of creating revenue. It also allowed many underground or, you know, just regular guys to make films and sell them. You know, shot and video films have now become classic, such as Video Violence, which I'm not too big a fan, but I know it was a great way of getting those films out to people through video. They also, during the mid-80s, Britain had the whole video nasty scandal, moral panic, because horror films, extremely graphic horror films, came across the Atlantic and shocked Puritan, government, thus leading the ban of 72 films, which is quite frankly outrageous, and got one man imprisoned because a film he released was a few seconds longer than the cut by the BBFC. But moving on. Although, interesting postscript, they're all been released post 2000, uncut, most of them. And they wear their video nasty status as a badge of honour, so who really won? But yeah. Also, the slasher movie had its stranglehold over the horror genre in America during this time. And about the end of the 80s, the whole grindhouse movie cinemas kind of died because the home video took away their major audience. But yeah, moving on. So the 90s, independent cinema was back with a vengeance after the rise of such filmmakers such as Quentin Tarantino, Kevin Smith, and Richard Linklater. The decade also gave independent filmmakers in the US with an alternative to the dreaded X rating, which was the NC-17. The concept behind it was a way for filmmakers to address more mature themes with more mature imagery in their own way, and not be tacked in with the whole pornography industry, which was associated with the X rating. Thus, meaning they would have a NC-17 would be a rating just for the art cinema and films that may show a little bit more, but it's not suitable for children. This lasted for about 2 minutes after some pastor got it mixed up with thinking it was the same as the X rating, and thus decided to boycott Blockbuster if it sold any of these. Blockbuster obviously bottled it, and thus domino effect went across, thus meaning the NC-17 means as much as the X rating used to mean. It is now as dreaded because no one will stock the NC-17s or show them in mainstream cinemas, which horrible. But that's all part of the MPAA's. What was it now? The fact that they're so biased, and but never mind. Moving on. CGI also came in a lot more, in films such as Jurassic Park and The Matrix, almost famously The Matrix, featuring a bullet time sequence which has been distributed in over 21 films separately. DVD also takes on both VHS and Laserdisc. It obviously wins. Interesting postscript. The last mainstream commercial film to be released on video was 2003's A History of Violence, directed by David Cronenberg, though it is still being used in the underground circuits, especially trauma films, as a special edition, and because it's having a revival, in the horror community with films such as VHS coming out, which take up the mantle from the first exploitation films, which have been had its stranglehold for the past few years. Ever since Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez released, Grindhouse, which is my own gateway drug into the exploitation film history and genre itself. So, there you have it, a brief history of film that's now 20 minutes long. Well, that's brief. This is a condensed form of it, so. Yep. Thanks for reviewing, and. This has been Kyle Holden. Bye.